Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Patreon-sponsored review time again, and once more it's for Gokaiger. Last time on, oh god, how did they screw this up for Power Rangers Megaforce? We were introduced to Bosco, a privateer and former compatriot of Captain Marvelous. He betrayed the good captain and Akared to the Zangiak Empire for profit, following a philosophy of, you can't get something without giving something away. Which I maintain is kinda dumb since he goes to ludicrous extremes, like, well, that means that I have to give up my own advantages whenever I lose or win, and also gifts and stealing things don't exist. He was armed with a collection of keys for 6th Rangers, able to summon versions of them using a big trumpet, unlike the Mobirates used by our heroes. Bosco, the ska villain. Still, Captain Marvelous was able to save the day, rescue the other Gokaigers, and Bosco escaped while showing that he still had more 6th Ranger keys at his disposal. Will we see him again in these episodes? Well, let's dig into Kaizoku Sentai Gokaiger, episodes 17 to 21, and see for ourselves.
Atop the fourth wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. What's with these awkward subjects? What's all this art so rubbish? To anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he is a man, punch, sporadically a grouch. Linkara, he has his own spaceship, but he's always on his couch. Linkara.
We begin with episode 17, a somewhat spectacular silver person, which Wikipedia lists as the awesome silver pirate, so clearly there's some disagreement out there about how cool this guy is. Our heroes destroy a large contingent of Zangiak forces using some of the powers unlocked by other Sentai teams. However, on the ground, someone is observing this. If only there was some kind of toy version I could buy at my local store! On return to the ship, Navi congratulates them on a job well done. Unfortunately, 8 of them are just different brands of foot lotion. The group's feeling pretty confident that at the rate they're going, they'll have the rest of the ultimate powers in no time. Marvelous tells Navi to do his prediction ability. That thing's head is gonna look like a piece of paper by the time this season is over. It tells them that they need to keep a lookout for a somewhat spectacular silver person. Well, yeah, it's been 17 episodes. Has there been a firmware patch to Navi that was supposed to make the predictions more detailed? Well, time to take off my shirt. After the theme song, the group begins looking for the silver guy, first encountering a jogger who knows nothing about what they want, before passing by a kid that falls down on the ground. The guy who had been watching them earlier, who was about to introduce himself to them, berates Marvelous for not stopping to help the kid.
Super Sentai の人なら道端で転んだ子供には優しく手を差し伸べてあげましょうよ。
What do you think this is, Kamen Rider? Marvelous points out the kid just tripped and he can get up himself, which he immediately does and runs to his mom. Getting a lot of questions about my I'm not someone suspicious t-shirt that are answered by the shirt. Too late, dude. I saw that you posted some opinions on the internet. They run into a monster and the foot soldiers planting bombs all over the city. Apparently the earlier fight was meant as a distraction for them while they were doing this, which makes me wonder why they didn't keep the distraction up, because they're clearly not done yet. Anyway, they morph. Okay, dumb question. Power Rangers does this sometimes too, but if the different team members are the same design but different color and not reflecting like a variety of animals or something, what's the point of announcing this? Do they assume the villains are colorblind and can't tell which one they are? Anyway, fight scene.
Some days you just can't get rid of a bomb.
They try out the 6th Ranger keys they got from Bosco, but the monster is equipped with a force field. The guy who's not someone suspicious says that this is his chance to join in, but during the fight, Don manages to do some damage to the force field generator using the green Jew Ranger form. Ugh, typical Tommy worship. Oh, wait. Before the suspicious person can do anything, the monster retreats. The monster is berated by War's Gill back on his ship. The only thing truly beneath my notice is the pink scrolling text. After the monster leaves, the other villains discuss how he's very prideful and will violate orders if it means finishing his battle. This gives War's Gill an idea. The Gokaigers realize that the dropped dagger means there's a part of the force field they can get past, but then Mr. Weirdo shows up again. He introduces himself as Guy Ikari, a fanboy of Super Sentai, and he wants to join them. Marvelous asks what exactly he can bring to the group, and he thinks by joining, he can raise their appeal as a Super Sentai, even having a little dream sequence where they're all super polite and friendly, basically the inverse of their usual personalities, save for Ahim, who's already kind of sweet and nice. Although I suddenly have a strange attraction to Guy Ikari, who is definitely not someone suspicious. Naturally, they tell him no, which devastates him. That's because you're not very observant, Guy. Like, I get it, fanboy of Super Sentai and all, but you'd think that given how long the Gokaigers have been around, he'd have studied them and recognized that they're not really out to save the world and be friends to children and stuff. I don't know, maybe it's just wishful thinking on his part and he deluded himself into thinking that's how it would be. Anyway, later they resume their hunt for the silver person.
Of course. But why should we form an alliance with you?
The monster attacks again, but Guy gets in between the two groups. He reveals that he has his own morpher, changing into the Silver Gokaiger. They're on Krypton? Poyo? The others are confused, especially Marvelous because there are only supposed to be 5 Gokaiger keys. Still, he shows off his abilities and easily defeats the foot soldiers. He even manages to fight off the monster for a bit until he activates the force field. We soon learn from the villains that instead of reinforcing the force field generator, they instead placed a powerful explosive inside of it that'll go off when it's struck. Seems like he could have done both, reinforce it so the force field plan could still work, but also have the C4 or whatever as backup. Damaris having a real "are we the baddies?" existential crisis. The Gokaigers are about ready to deliver the blow that'll set it off, but Guy realizes something is wrong and stops them, managing to get in and toss the force field generator off and allowing it to explode in the air away from them. Guy destroys the monster by throwing a big trident through it, and the others begin asking him questions, leading us into the next episode, A Drilling Dinosaur Robot Rampage. After the recap, Guy is brought to the Galleon. He geeks out for a bit before they demand to know where he got his Ranger key from. He explains in flashback that he rescued a little girl from getting hit by a truck, but he got some red paint spilled on his head, so they took him to the hospital. There, he had an out-of-body experience. That kid I gave my dragon coin to sold it on eBay. You must avenge me, Guy. He also met Timefire and Abare Killer. And see, that's why I only do History of Power Rangers and not History of Super Sentai. I just don't know that entry-level knowledge. Abare Killer hands him the Silver Ranger key and the Gokai Cellular. Aren't all the morphers cellular? He's gonna become Charles Barkley? You think the three of them ever sit around comparing how they died? Guy woke up in the hospital with the key and morpher, but hasn't been able to change into other Sentai teams before. The ultimate power, as it were. Marvelous shows him the keys they have. They only made like 100 of these! It's a super rare collectible! Marvelous takes his morpher and explains that before he can make him a part of the crew, he needs to have something unique to bring to the table. The rest of the crew can do things that he can't, so Guy will have to prove himself before he can officially join up. He's all too eager to try to figure that out. Despite their occasional dickish attitude, it seems Marvelous is trying to look out for Guy, as he explains later. This makes it really hard to go shopping there. Guy contemplates what he's gonna do, but then hears the Zangiak attacking a construction site. They know that! What do you think the construction workers were doing? Even without his powers, he's able to fight back against the foot soldiers for a bit and let the construction workers escape. Eventually, he's overrun, but declares he won't give up no matter what. The other Gokaigers come in and save him. Marvelous warns him that if he uses the Morpher, he'll be an enemy of the Zangiak.
残虐を倒し宇宙全体を平和にするんです
Unfortunately, he just ended up sending emails saying they should go vote to destroy the Zangiak, and then asked for money. Marvelous is on board for this and gives him the Morpher, all 6 charging and declaring their colors. They fight, with the theme song even starting up as he assists the others in the battle. And this is why you sometimes break out the theme song during a fight, because one as good as Gokaigers just makes for great triumphant moments. We also get some fun moments with changing into other Sentai teams, and all Silver Rangers morph for instance. The monster grows, which allows Guy to show off his Zord. Hailing from the future, it's Gozu Drill. I could ask how he knows how he could summon this thing, but that would distract from this giant foot soldier getting a drill to his crotch. The drill ship can become a giant dinosaur with a drill tail, unlocked via the Zhu Ranger's key. And makes sense given the dinosaur theme of the original and the Dragon Zord's own drill tail. The Abba Ranger key allows it to take on a more humanoid or Megazord form. Yeah, apologies that for a lot of this I'm still using the Power Rangers terminology for things like that. It's just easier for me to remember, and I can't tell how much of my audience has seen Super Sentai. He's officially welcomed as part of the crew, though Marvelous says that he's still just an apprentice pirate.
よろしくお願いしますジョーさん
Yeah? This brings us to episode 19, an armor with 15 warriors. That seems like it'd get very sweaty and uncomfortable to have 15 people crammed inside of it. We begin with them linking the Ranger keys they have already to his Morpher, so he can access more than just the 3 he already had. Don points out that it's weird that his equipment works the same as the stuff Akka Red had for all this, but the others aren't concerned. The villains unveil a new monster.
ことない顔ですね。何ができるのですか？
骨を抜きます
ほ？
ね
Introducing the Wonder Boner, the amazing new fishing tool that makes deboning fish a breeze.
Like the pizza I ordered? Guy makes lunch for everyone, which depresses Don because he's their usual cook, and Guy does a really damn good job of it. Yeah, the episode is about Don's insecurities about their new teammate, and his fear that he's gonna be replaced. Not helped by the fact that in episode 17, the dream sequence Guy described didn't even have him in there. Meanwhile, the monster attacks random citizens, though apparently by taking their bones, they meant take a special effects skeleton from them, and they just get kinda sleepy. Don and Guy spot this.
このまま地球人全てを骨抜きにしてやるきゃ
My wife would like that.
The two engage the Zangiak, though Don is severely off his game. The rest of the team arrives and changes into Go-Onger, but this leaves Guy with a dilemma. There was both a silver and gold Go-Onger for him to change into, and he can't pick which one to swap into. This level of indecision is noticed by the spirits of those two Go-Onger, who summon him into a white void of nothingness to fuse their keys into one, so he can change into both at once. I love how even the foot soldiers are like, dude, what the hell?
またみんなガイで盛り上がって
Everybody's got a boner for Guy. Thank God this monster is around. And indeed, that's what happens. Don's hesitation causes Ahim to take a blast for him, and in the confusion, everyone but him and Guy get deboned.
戦いはいいか
Still better than how this was adapted in Power Rangers Megaforce.
I'm tired. I'm gonna take a nap.
My boat
Yawn.
The monster retreats and our heroes are brought back to the galleon.
いいってそんなの
一緒にふにゃーっとしよう
Dudes, have you ever noticed that, like, our morphers are cell phones? Dudes, are we pirating data? So did the monster just replace their bones with weed? Guy is confident they can destroy the monster and that'll restore everyone to normal, but Don thinks he'll just get in the way. Guy leaves, but Navi tells Don that Guy said the same thing about himself, that he thinks Don is amazing compared to him. Gaining inspiration, he heads off to join Guy. He tells Guy that if he was able to combine Go-Onger, Gold, and Silver together, he may be able to do the same with the other 15 6th Ranger keys they've got.
やつも15個も一緒だよ
There is logic in what he says.
And thus he does so, done keeping the monster busy while Guy appears in the white void with the other Rangers. They look up into the void, and a new Ranger key is formed with all 15 of them on it. So naturally, his new outfit is like a patchwork of all these 6th Rangers, right? Well, no. It changes him into, this.
Your costume is ridiculous.
Like, I don't know if my opinion is the same as the rest of the fandom out there, but like, no. This thing is just an eyesore. Like, maybe if the helmets were spread out all over the thing, it'd be better, but bunched up on the chest and shoulder pads, it's just goofy looking. The important thing here is that the monster is defeated. The villains make him grow, but it goes about as well as you'd expect.
I think the Wonder Boner's a winner.
The two are now buddy buds to end the episode, leading us to episode 20, The Forest of Doubt. We begin with Navi doing its treasure navigation thing, and actually getting off pretty easy with just banging into the back of Guy's head. Guy, on the other hand, will be unconscious for the rest of the series. No, rather, Navi tells them to seek out the warriors of the hidden forest. Guy figures it must refer to Ginga Man, even pulling out a manga featuring them. Was he just holding that this entire time? What am I saying? Of course he was. Just imagine he keeps tons and tons of Sentai merch in his pants now. He explains the premise of Ginga Man and how they fought space pirates, which means they probably won't get along. Still, they lived in a forest protected by a barrier that others couldn't enter, so they figure this is their best bet to check out. Though Guy has no idea where the forest is. After the theme song, we learned that the manga he had was actually a guidebook that could lead them to the forest. Don has also brought donuts along as a peace offering to keep the Ginga Men? Whatever. To keep them from attacking them on sight. Man, those rice balls look delicious. They soon realize that they've passed the same flowers twice now, a result of the barrier.
Space is warped and time is bendable.
But no time for that. The barrier shatters as someone is thrown out by Bosco. After getting Guy up to speed on him, we see that the man who was thrown out was Hyuga, the Black Knight, aka the extra hero who kind of counts as the 6th Ranger for Ginga Man. Bosco is of course after the ultimate power as well, and shows off some of his remaining 6th Ranger keys. Guy takes Hyuga to safety while the others fight Bosco's forces and get their asses kicked. Once they're in the safety of a rock quarry, Guy explains about how he looked up to Super Sentai since he was a kid, and that's why he chose to be Gokai Silver. Still, he wishes he could have seen the veterans in their prime, and Hyuga suggests he give the morpher over to him instead. The others are pulled from the river by this dude. He suggests they take it easy, but they say they need to get back to their crew. Still, they say thanks for the help and give him the donuts. The thought's nice, but I don't think Tim Horton's containers were waterproof. Guy seriously considers handing over the morpher to Hyuga. He's Gokai Silver Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. You're Gokai Silver Thursday, Friday, Saturday. And Sunday's a wild card. It looks like he's about to hand it over, thinking the more experienced World Saver would be better, but then Bosco attacks. Hyuga says he won't give up the Ginga Man power to anyone but whom they choose, but Bosco apparently can suck it out using his trumpet. Fortunately, Marvelous interrupts the process, but Bosco has the Ranger key for the Black Knight, using him against our hero. The other summoned 6th Rangers come in and force Marvelous to demorph. Pirates! History's morons! Marvelous says that the treasure is his dream, and that only an idiot would give up on their dream, which inspires Guy to not surrender the morpher. I mean, sure, the Earth is destroyed, but I really wanted it, you know? But of course, Hyuga is all in favor of this. He can't very well entrust the planet to someone who's not sure if they're the right choice to do the job after all. The team reunites and morphs, even changing into Ginga Man to fight off the 6th Rangers. Save for Guy, obviously. Our heroes save the day, though they only obtain the Black Knight key. The others are recovered by Bosco and Sally the monkey. Also, apparently Sally has more than one monster in its stomach, as it unleashes another one to deal with our heroes while Bosco escapes. After defeating the monster, Hyuga gives Guy the Black Knight key. And of course, we see that the guy who rescued them from the river was Ryoma, the Red Ginga Man. But that leads us to our final episode to cover, An adventurer's heart. We begin with Marvelous demanding a new prediction from Navi, but he's really pissed about it, insisting on one and getting physical despite Navi saying it's taking a break. Ah, the return of the Marvelous asshole. They realize it's because Bosco has demonstrated he can take the ultimate power of a Sentai team fairly easily, and it's getting to him. Ahim offers him some tea, and before the opening theme song plays, some other guy shows up to ask for some too. After the titles, he introduces himself as Akashi Satoru, the Red Bowkenger, what became Operation Overdrive and Power Rangers. He apparently had given them access to his Ranger key before in the White Void, but this is the first time meeting him in person. While he signs an autograph for Guy, he explains why he's there. He was last seen with a creature called Golem. The Precious, in this case, are ancient relics with incredible power. He says they're after one called the Heart of Hades, and it seems the villains are after it as well, Damaris explaining that it supposedly has the power to revive the dead. Get used to it, dude. Earth is basically the mystical junk drawer of every object of great power. Marvelous says they don't have time to go hunting for it, but Akashi appeals to their egos and pride, suggesting that maybe they aren't good enough to get something like that, which gets them on board. On the way to its location, they run into Zangiak forces, Joe saying they'll stay behind and deal with them, while Marvelous, Luca, and Akashi head on. Our heroes have a bit of fun again with multiple modes, as Guy suggests they do this in ninja form, intending it to be Shurikenger, and instead the others go with Kaku Ranger, another ninja-themed Sentai. It is kind of weird that with 35 Sentai teams, they keep going back to the well for the same theming again and again. Sure, some concepts are more popular with kids, of course, but you'd think the creative teams would get bored revisiting the same ideas. After Marvelous almost falls into a trap because of his impatience, we have a flashback to him with Akka Red where a similar thing happened. They reach the entrance to a cave and discover a bunch of Zangiak forces already dead just inside. Deeper in the cave, after dealing with a pressure-sensitive door lock, they find they're too late. A monster has gotten to the heart and is using it to resurrect his master, Ryuan, the main villain of Bowkenger. The Heart of Hades is now incorporated into his body. He collapses the cave down on the three and makes his escape. And not to complain about Power Rangers yet again, but this is another chance they could have had for a legacy episode of Power Rangers Megaforce. Hell, even if they didn't want to bring back an Overdrive Ranger for a cameo, the plot of resurrecting a past villain whose suit they used in it would still hold up. Ryuan attacks the Gokaigers outside, who had finished up with the Zangiak. Back in the cave, our heroes awaken. Marvelous says the trip was for nothing since they failed to retrieve the heart, but Akashi denies that. Well, I did find a really cool hat at a gift shop once. No, he just goes on about the heart of an adventurer, the thrill of the chase, and that's what the most important treasure of all is. Meanwhile, the creator of One Piece is apparently just like, what? Of course there's an actual treasure. Marvelous returns to his flashback, where after rescuing Akka Red from another trap, he discovered the Red Bowkenger key, and this gets him to stop being a dick about the adventure. Akashi thinks that with the Hades heart absorbed into Ryuan, they have to destroy it, but Marvelous says they'll show him how pirates do things. They break out of the cave while the others get knocked around by Ryuan. Everyone reunites and the Gokaigers morph to take him on. In turn, they change into Bowkenger. A small, unregistered hypercam watermark is going to appear on all their visors. Using the Bowkenger's weapons, they hold Ryuan in place, and Marvelous just yanks the heart out of his chest and tosses it to Akashi. Always fun when the kids show features a character literally ripping the heart out of his opponent's chest. Ryuan is still alive and gets back up. Guy uses his stupid gold mode to destroy him, but somehow that just makes him grow so that they can pad out the episode by using their Zords to kill him. They do so with the Bowkengers' finishing move, so that's a nice touch. And so our episode ends with Marvelous telling Navi it doesn't have to rush the results, but refuses to apologize for being a dick. Also, Akashi calls out to Akka Red and asks if this is what he wanted. And maybe we'll follow up on that whenever another patron has me cover more Gokaiger. Shock of all shocks, the series that has already proven itself to be good continues to be good. I think the patron might have made a mistake in having me cover episode 21 along with the others. Episodes 7 to 20 are a solid batch that introduces us to Guy and shows him from various angles. As a dorky fanboy for Sentai stuff, as someone talented, skilled, and possessing the will to do the job, building his interpersonal relationship with another Gokaiger, and finally demonstrating that even though he has hero worship for past Sentai teams, he'll stick to his guns and be the guy who can save the world instead of expecting the previous generation to do it for him. Episode 21 is good, but it's more continuing Marvelous's development after the encounter with Bosco than any Gokai Silver stuff. The fights are great, the individual episode storylines are all good, the music is awesome, it's a great series, and it continues to baffle me how badly botched it was adapted when it was used for Power Rangers. But as its own show and as a tribute to Super Sentai's long history, Gokaiger continues to prove what a great series it is. Next time, we're closing in on the end of an era with issue number 11 of US 1. Hello my friends, please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications on new video releases. If you'd like to support future videos, you can check out my Patreon or purchase a t-shirt via Teespring or Shark Robot. Thanks for watching!